Hello, you're listening to E-Bible Fellowship's new Open Forum Excerpts, and now we present the following excerpt.
Welcome to our program. Please go ahead with your call.
Esther 9, 13, 14, and 17.
Esther 9, verse 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hand. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Just wondering if that could be a possibility of the last day.
Well, it's a figure of Judgment Day. The whole idea in the book of Esther of Haman, because he hated Mordecai, a type of Christ, he wanted to kill the people of Mordecai, and the people of Christ are the elect. So Haman came against the Jews who would point to spiritual Jews or Christians. And then it was turned around. It was turned around, and after Haman was hanged, and circumstantial evidence points to his being hanged on the 17th day of the second month of the calendar in use in the days of Esther, and that 17th day, second month identifies with the flood date beginning, and also with May 21, 2011, the underlying Hebrew calendar date, 17th day, second month. And even the fact Haman, a type of Satan, is hanged, we can see judgment upon Satan, which we can identify also with May 21, 2011. And yet the 10 sons of Haman, they continued on. But Haman lost his house, and his sons lost all authority. Mordecai was placed over the house of Haman. And so Christ has taken the kingdom of Satan of this world. Jesus is ruling the nations at this time, not for their good, but in order to punish. And also, there is another letter written to the Jews. So the Jews, they receive this message from the king. There was an earlier message, couldn't be changed. And then the king, through Esther and Mordecai, Esther's pleadings, they write a second message. The king approves and seals and sends to the nations where the Jews can fight their enemies. And that ties in with Revelation 19, Christ and the armies of heaven on horseback behind him who is the Word, following the Word into the battle of Judgment Day. It ties in with the statement, know ye not the saints will judge the world? Or in Psalm 149, the saints have a two-edged sword in their hand to execute vengeance. Well, let me make sure I get that right. In Psalm 149, it says, the saints are in view, verse 5. Then in verse 6, let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. Two-edged sword is also the word of God, the Bible. 2, execute vengeance upon the heathen or the nations, and punishments upon the people. Verse 9, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. So the language is one of doing battle. With a two-edged sword, you're executing vengeance and punishments. And we see with Jael, Jael, that in Judges, in a battle, historical battle, that spiritually represents Judgment Day, because Barak comes with 10,000. Picture of Jesus coming with 10,000 saints. And Sisera flees the battle. Sisera, type of Satan. And he goes to Jael. She takes a nail of the tent and a workman's hammer and nails the tent nail into his temple, and he dies and bows and falls down. Jael is a picture of the elect. The nail is Christ. Christ is the Word. The hammer identifies with the Word of God. Again and again and again, we read of the elect engaged in the battle in one way, in one sense, in Judgment Day, which ties in with declaring the Word, sharing the Word, teaching the Word, the revelation of God's righteous judgment. That's what we're sharing. And in Revelation 15, they're called seven angels, but they're the better translated seven messengers, and they have the attire of priests and also of saints. And in the next chapter, they pour out the seven last vials full of the wrath of God. Well, those vials are representative of the Bible, because the Bible contains the wrath of God, all the information about the wrath of God, pouring it out. This honor have all his saints. And so the fact that the Jews can do battle with their enemies in the time of judgment fits in with all this language. Although 2 Chronicles 20, also a historical parable pointing to Judgment Day, emphasizes we have no need to fight in the battle. And the very definite reason that God emphasizes that, because in the world today, all the division, all the various sides, we do not take a side. We do not go left. We do not go right. We do not go in this political direction or that political direction, or support this cause over against that cause, or we stay out of that. We have nothing to do with that. We have a much bigger task and much more important task. And if we get involved in the world's battle at this time, well, both sides lose, or all three sides, or however many sides it finally breaks up into with all this division. Every side loses in the world. We don't want any side. All we want to do is represent God of the Bible and his word, and declare his word. And we do so, with gentleness, with kindness, and with simply a desire to share truth, as the saints of God have always desired to share truth. And that's our focus. And that's what we see here as the 10 sons of Haman, and the 10 sons can tie in with the 10 horns of the beast in the book of Revelation. So they also represent Satan. Haman, a picture of Satan, is killed. 10 sons live on with no authority, no dominion. That's Satan's existence represented or typified by the 10 sons in the day of judgment, until the literal end, when they're hanged. They're also hanged as their father was, and the judgment completes.
Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more new Open Forum excerpts that will be added periodically.